Hey, it is Whitney K, business coach, marketing agency owner, and your host of the Uno Mas podcast, where overwhelmed female entrepreneurs and founders come to get real, actionable advice on how to ditch burnout and build a business that actually works for them. Here you'll access tips, proven strategies, and unfiltered conversations with industry leaders. Hey friend, welcome back. Can we be real for a second? You are probably drowning in content ideas. Your phone's camera roll is full of half-recorded reels. Your Canva account looks like a graveyard of abandoned graphics, and yet you keep telling yourself the same lie. I need to create more content. No, you don't. You need to stop creating and start using what you already have. The woman making 6 figures while posting 3 times a week, yeah, she's not more creative than you. She just has a system. And that system is exactly what we're talking about today. So if you're tired of feeling like you're always behind, always scrambling for the next post, or always wondering why your content isn't converting, this one's for you and it's going to hit a little bit different. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Hear me when I say this to you. You are not lazy. You're just unorganized. And your content overwhelm isn't about lacking ideas. It's about lacking structure. And I have been there. In fact, I find myself there on occasion still today. And this is something I specialize in and I coach tons of people on and how to better streamline and be more efficient. But I'd be lying to you if I told you that I too sometimes find myself in an overwhelmed state of mind, and I need to come back and refine and systematize my approach to things in order to feel more grounded, more productive, and honestly, more sane at the end of the day. And today I'm going to be talking to you about a lot of things, but also you're going to walk away with a lot more clarity and understanding and a key step-by-step process that you can take to just make your life so much easier. Okay, what I have seen with many clients is that, and this might sound exactly like you, but number one is they have tons of great ideas, but they're stored in 19 different places. You've got Post-it notes probably all over your desk. Maybe you have, a notebook that you jot down ideas. Maybe you've got notes on your phone, and I don't know, there's sometimes where I'll be inspired by an Instagram post and I will save that post into something how you can have collections. I have a collection called Duplicate, meaning I've been inspired by somebody's content that I want to duplicate for my own and reword it to be my own. So I have ideas there, and you might have ideas all over the place. And ultimately, that is creating chaos in and of itself because you're going to forget about them if it's not in one central location. You are inspired in that moment, but you're not taking action. We're going to get into all of this, but that is what I see a lot with clients is that there's no central organization to what is going on internally in their mind. And that, again, alone causes a lot of overwhelm and a lot of chaos because it's just unorganized. Another thing is I see that they're trying to be consistent, but they're reinventing the wheel with every single post. There's no process that they're walking through to make not only content that much easier to create, but content easier to create based on an idea that they have. A lot of times we'll have ideas and we'll go to create that content and we just we brain fart. We get stuck. We're like, oh my gosh, a week ago I saw this, I had a really good idea, but now I'm stuck because I didn't develop that idea and now I can't even think of how I want to develop that idea. But if you had a clear process to work through, that idea would easily be developed because of the process you're taking yourself through to create that piece of content. Another thing I see happen all the time is a lot of my clients think that they have to create more because that's the answer, but ultimately that just multiplies the chaos, and that isn't true. This isn't about effort, it's about structure, and structure is what's going to set you free. So what does structure actually look like? Well, I'm glad you're here and listening and basically asking because you wouldn't be listening if you weren't curious. And I'm going to go through that with you right now. Your content workflow, it truly is like your freedom plan. Shoot, any workflow, any system is your freedom plan. But today we're talking about content. I'm going to walk you through a simple workflow that saves me and many of my clients hours every single week. It's 3 steps, super simple. The first one, capture. You're going to keep one running idea bank. No more Post-its, no more random note apps, no more tons of endless collections on, Instagram, or maybe you're saving posts on TikTok or Facebook or Pinterest or wherever you are. You're going to have one central place to keep those ideas flowing. I'm going to give you some recommendations in a little bit as far as tools and platforms that you can use, but it can be as simple as a notebook. It can be as simple as a Google Drive sheet. It can be, Trello, ClickUp, Notion. It can be a whole bunch of different options, but keep it in one central place. And yes, it can be the notes on your phone. That's perfectly fine. Whatever works for you, but don't scatter it around like 19 different locations because, again, that's going to create more chaos for you. The second thing that you want to do, so the first one was capture all those ideas. The second thing you want to do is batch your content. Now, hear me when I say this. I am the type of person that if an idea comes on, I do create in that moment, and oftentimes I post in that moment. Or I will be inspired to create in that moment. And when I say create, I will batch like 2 or 3 reels in that moment. And I might post one in that moment, but save some for a later date or to publish at a different time. If you are somebody that does better creating in the moment that an idea comes on, do it. This is not me saying you have to batch and that's the only way that you're going to create content. Go ahead and create that content. If you want to post it then and there, go ahead and post it then and there. This is more so speaking to the person that really struggles finding that inspiration from time to time and might do better batching content. Or like I said, if you feel inspired in that moment, batch more than just one piece of content in that moment because you're already in that mindset. You're already in that mode of creation. So take advantage of it. Okay, you can think of creating content in like themes. I know a lot of people like to do this because it keeps them more keeps them more streamlined. So like Monday motivation, tipful Tuesday. Like you don't have to title your content like that when you post it, but that's just like an internal thing for you to know like, okay, I need to do a tip today because it's been a minute since I've done that. You can even theme out your days based on your content pillars. If you like to, like for me, I might have a content pillar for, systems and streamlining. I might focus on that one day. I might then focus on sales and not lead magnets, but lead generation the next day. The next day, I might focus more on like lifestyle of a remote entrepreneur or an entrepreneur. You can theme out your days based on your content pillars, based on topics, whatever you want to do. But then you want to create in blocks of time. Again, like I said, a block of time could be 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or you could give yourself 2 to 3 hours. I know some people that block off certain days of their week. Those are their content creation days. Not necessarily just content creation for social media, but maybe there's somebody like me that has email newsletters or a podcast or a blog, and there's all these different deliverables as far as content goes, and they dedicate those specific days to creating that content for multiple different outlets and multiple different sources of content. Another thing is by doing this, you are not scrambling the night before. You've kind of like planned, because if you've captured, like in the first step, and you have a running bank of ideas, you can then go into batching very easily because you just literally go off of those ideas and check mark them like one after another, after another, after another, because you have that bank of ideas that you are just running off of in your batching period of time. The third thing is schedule. So you've got capture, batch, and then schedule. Now, again, scheduling tools can be a little tricky. So, for example, scheduling reels on a lot of platforms, like if you like adding trending audio to your reels, if you like adding different features to your reels that really the app has the ability to do in the scheduling platform, not necessarily, then yes, you're going to be limited here. But you can schedule out content like X posts or Instagram threads. I schedule out all of my Instagram threads because it's super easy to do. You can schedule out carousels. You can schedule out story posts. But again, story posts can be limited because you might want to add a link sticker, you might want to add a GIF, or you might want to add certain things. But the great thing is these platforms in and of itself allow for scheduling. So use the platform itself to schedule out the content. And when you go to schedule it, you are scheduling everything. You are scheduling the actual creative, which is the reel, the graphic, the carousel. You are scheduling and making sure that the caption is plugged in there, that the cover photo's in there if it needs a cover photo, that the trending sound is attached, and making sure that that is, synced the way that it needs to be. If you're posting a video or if you're, just posting a carousel, then there's a trending sound if you want it to be there. You are also making sure that the location is attached and all these other things that make a post, a post in its entirety. And yes, I'm speaking more to Instagram, but this goes to any platform, right? Any platform. So that's it. It's capture your content in a running idea bank, batching that content, and then scheduling that content out. Use tools that support you. No more, I wish I was, inspired to post something. Use these platforms to really guide you and help you streamline your content and your approach. It's not about being robotic. It's about creating margin. Okay. And when your system works, content keeps showing up even when you need to rest. But hear me when I say this. You don't need to post every day. Yeah, I said that. You do not need to post every day. In my personal and professional opinion, do I feel like if you are trying to connect with your audience and show up for your audience, do you need to be in your stories every day? Yes. I do believe you need to be in your stories every day. But as far as a static wall post or a reel or anything like that, you do not need to post every single day. Now, we're going to move on from that. So once you have that system in place, here's where it gets like really, really good, okay? Because now you're going to be able to repurpose like a CEO and not a content creator, okay? Honestly, repurposing is where my bread and butter is. I feel like once you can get into a repurposing mode, your life is, it's just so much easier. It is so much easier. And I know so many people that aren't even here yet, but you have no idea the power of repurposing, because repurposing isn't lazy. It's leadership. It's literally leveling up in your content creation. You are the voice of your brand, but you don't need to be in content creation mode 24/7. So my personal method is take one core piece of content, whether you do a podcast, whether you are writing a blog or a long form post, shoot, even if you do an email newsletter, this is a great long form piece of content to then break up in multiple assets. Again, whether it's a podcast, a blog, you can transcript the podcast, the blog is already written, long form content as far as email, newsletters or things like that. Take all of that content, then break it up into multiple assets, and you can create quotes from it, reels, stories, emails, trainings, on all different outlets out there, from TikTok to Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and Threads. It goes on and on and on. YouTube. You can create everywhere from one single long form post. And then that leaves you in the place of creating something once, but have multiplied impact on all these other different platforms. So you don't have to chase the algorithm. You just have to start stewarding your message. And it's not about posting more. It's about posting with a purpose. So now that you're tracking with me on this whole mindset shift, let's get into the practical for a minute, okay? tools that actually simplify but don't overcomplicate this entire process that I'm talking about. You don't need to become a tech queen to systematize your business. You just need to have several tools in place to help you run your business. And some of my favorites are, number one, ClickUp. I use ClickUp for content planning. That's my idea bank. I keep everything in there. You can also use, if ClickUp's a little overwhelming, you can use a platform like Trello or Notion. I, again, store my ideas there. I track when things are published. I do all of my caption writing in there. It's just an all-in-one platform that I love and use for pretty much everything in my business. Another thing is Flowdesk. Another platform is Flowdesk. That's where I do my email marketing. That's where I do my email newsletters, my workflows. That's where I feel a little bit more human and not so corporate, because that's where I'm getting a little bit more deep and personal with my subscribers and just my following and just my people, my community. I love them so much. I just love email marketing for that reason. I feel like I can just kind of be a little bit more me there. I also use, let's see here, mini chat. Okay. That's like my conversation assistant. That is your lead nurturer. That is where you can do your lead magnet deliveries. Those are chat bots. So if you see people on social media say, comment the word strategy, and then you comment that word, and then you get a message in the DMs. Yes, that is a bot. But yes, that is them setting up that bot, saying what they would want to say to you, but making it to the point where they don't have to be online 24/7 to follow all of the comments that are hitting on their posts in order to start up those messages. I too personally get into every single person that comments, and I eventually do send a personal message. Not everything that is sent in the DMs from my mini chat bot is an automation. I literally get in there and start up conversations post chatbot message with every single person that comments on my post. No matter where you are in the world, I have a lot of people in different countries that I don't even speak their language. And yes, I use Google Translate to sometimes speak their language, but I get in there and personally talk to these people, and I absolutely love it. But mini chat helps me initiate those conversations, give them what they're looking for if I'm not readily available. And then Zapier, however you say it, that's another great platform. That's one that's going to help you connect the dots without you being the dot connector, if that makes sense. It's kind of like you have one platform and another platform, and you want them to speak together, or you want them to do something together. Zapier allows you to be able to do that easily, in my opinion. You just kind of have to get in there and mess around with it. If you're not familiar with it, feel free to ask me a question, and I'm happy to help as best as I can. So we're not like building a huge machine here, but we're freeing your mind for what only you can do. Yeah, I mean, let's be real. We can only do so much as a person. We have lives, we have commitments, we have families, we have husbands, we have, jobs. Some of us are trying to build something on the side while you still have a 9-to-5. I get it. I've been there. But at the same time, the best way for you to be two places at once is to be able to have these tools and platforms set up so you're not completely overwhelmed trying to be everything to everybody at the same time, when these things are here to kind of help assist you and guide you, and at least help you get your content out there a lot more easily than probably what you're already doing in the moment. And speaking of what only you can do, let's talk about the bigger picture here. We are called to this business, whatever your business might be. You are called to this message, whatever your message might be, or this mission, whatever your mission might be. But burnout is not a badge of honor, and it's not the badge of honor that you think it is. And we kind of have to shift our perspective into what I consider to be the kingdom perspective. We're not called to hustle for clarity. We're called to lead with it. But leading with that starts with simplicity. And when we can stop doing all the things and start building systems, you begin to honor the assignment that God has truly given you in your life. You show up fully, you're more strategic, and you're more consistent. And ultimately, you're more reliable with your audience when you show up online, which is ultimately one of the key factors into having them convert and want to work with you at the end of the day. Let's be honest for a second. You already know what you need to do. You don't need another content strategy. You need to implement the one that I've shared with you today. So pick one thing from this episode, just one, whether that's setting up an idea bank, whether that's blocking out batched content creation time, or choosing one piece of content to repurpose in 3 to 4 different ways. And stop waiting for the perfect system, but just start with a small, simple one. Your message matters, your business matters, but you can't steward either if you're constantly drowning in chaos. So if this episode hit different, screenshot it, tag me on Instagram, tell me which point you plan on implementing first. And if you need help actually building these systems, let's chat. DM me on Instagram at HeyWhitneyK today. And just know that the woman who's winning isn't working harder, she's working smarter. And that can be you today. Thanks for taking the time to listen in to today's episode on Uno Mas Podcast. What can you do to support the show moving forward? Well, you can subscribe on your favorite platform, leave a review or a rating, because it's your reviews that matter most, and it's your reviews that help us get the show discovered by new listeners. And don't forget to share this episode with your friends, family, and followers on all your social media accounts, tagging me at the Whitney K or at Uno Mas Podcast for a spotlight feature on our social platforms. Now, if you're a female entrepreneur who's ready to ditch the overwhelm, stream your business operations, and create a brand that deeply resonates with your audience, it's time to take the next step. Visit Eden with an IDEN.agency to learn more about my strategic synergy partnership, a personalized one-on-one partnership experience where we'll work together to implement the tools, systems, and strategies you need to scale with confidence, save time, and achieve sustainable growth. Don't wait. Your business deserves clarity, efficiency, and success. So let's make it happen together.